It's a roundabout near a school that some people are forgetting is a roundabout altogether. I'm Cody Boyer in Bozeman with what those living nearby are concerned about.
And Montana is taking new steps to solve a backlog of missing persons cases. Coming up, how state officials plan to solve those cases. 6:29 here on your Thursday morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Missy O'Malley with Chet Lehman. Matt Elwell is off today, so Chet's wearing his weather hat today.
I am wearing my weather hat, and I'm going to take it off in a little bit and get a little sun on my face because we're going to have a little bit of that this afternoon.
Beautiful.
Here's what it looks like outside right now. You can see mostly clear skies if you live in southwest or western Montana. If you live in eastern Montana, this is what you're dealing with. Dense fog advisory until 10 o'clock this morning, so if you have family out in that neighborhood doing some driving, tell them to slow down, 2 hands on the wheel, give themselves a little extra time. It could be some tough driving. Here in southwest Montana, temperatures in the 20s for the most part, 19 right now in Wise River and Deer Lodge, 10 in West Yellowstone, mostly clear skies for the most part. Really beautiful kind of morning. Here's what it's shaping up for your day. I mentioned the sunshine, right at the average temperature for this time of year in the mid 40s. Sunshine abounds, not a lot of wind for all of southwest Montana. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you like today, you're going to love tomorrow, Missy. Detailed forecast coming up in 10 minutes.
I love the sound of that. Thank you for that, Chet. Now, new for you this morning, the Missoula Police Department says it's investigating a suspicious death. Police officers say they responded to a call on Stevens Avenue, found the body of a 42-year-old man. Officers say the death is believed to be due to unnatural causes. A woman was arrested in the case and is being held at the Missoula County Jail. 47-year-old Nancy Wright is being held on felony deliberate homicide and misdemeanor criminal trespass to property. Wright has not been formally charged by the county attorney. Police say the investigation is ongoing. Also new for you this morning, Montana Department of Justice leaders say with a new resource, they're making progress in dealing with a missing person case around the state. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian spoke to the department's new missing person specialist about the steps her department is now taking.
Misty LaPlante says law enforcement agencies around Montana aren't always able to put extensive resources into missing persons cases.
Sometimes I feel like missing person cases sort of fall to back burner.
Now LaPlante serves as an additional resource for those cases. In September, she became the Montana Department of Justice's missing persons specialist. The position was created this year after the Montana legislature passed Hannah's Act, part of a package of bills aimed at addressing the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous people. LaPlante's responsibilities cover all parts of the state.
I think having one person really dedicate all their time to looking at this issue and, seeing what some of the problems were has helped tremendously.
One of LaPlante's chief roles is overseeing the Montana Missing Persons Clearinghouse. When she took over, the clearinghouse included 179 people. 56 of them were Native Americans. As of last week, the number was down to 154 missing people, including 36 Native Americans.
I was able to network with local law enforcement agencies and other entities to make sure that these people who we know where they are removed from the list, and then also add historical cases where people who had gone missing, years ago weren't on the list.
LaPlante has also given presentations around the state, talking to the public about missing persons cases and addressing some misconceptions.
There's a myth that you have to wait for 24 hours or 48 hours before you report someone missing, and that's not true. In fact, there's no waiting period, and there's never been a waiting period.
LaPlante says as she goes forward in this position, she wants to work with communities across the state to address stigmas and other barriers that keep people from reporting these cases.
Report people missing. For all the people that we have on the list, imagine how many more there aren't on the list.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Now, LaPlante is also a part of the state's Missing Indigenous Persons Task Force. That task force will meet for the 4th time this Friday at the Heritage Inn in Great Falls, starting at 8:30 that morning, wrapping up at 4 o'clock that afternoon. And roundabouts are a relatively new concept here in Montana. Most drivers get the idea. But apparently there's a few drivers who are choosing to blow right through them and over the top of them. One in particular near Bozeman High School. MTN's Cody Boyer has more about the roundabout on 15th and Beale and how it's being ignored.
A lot of traffic things can get ignored, and that's where crashes can occur.
Roundabouts are supposed to make driving through intersections safer. That depends on who is driving. Ask those living nearby, an issue surfaces. For example, someone told me their concerns as I was out filming the roundabout wearing my traffic gear.
I see so many people around this one? Oh, that makes me nervous.
If people obeyed the law, they would be in better control.
Mike Welton has lived at the intersection for 40 years. The new roundabout is in his front yard.
And I suspect maybe at night, maybe somebody will come up to the roundabout and possibly drive right over it.
If you're going through the roundabout, you might not notice the fact that people are ignoring it altogether and driving straight through in either direction. But take a step back and the proof is in the prints. Sergeant Travis Munter with the Bozeman City Police says the penalties go further than the marks that drivers leave behind.
Anything from, careless driving is probably the big one, or if you're intentionally doing it to cause mayhem, you're looking at reckless driving.
While most people are playing it safe, police and those like Welton hope people can remember the roundabout before something bad happens.
Speed is the main thing. Make sure we slow down and we pay attention to our surroundings and go from there.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
In other news, in the mining city, police in Butte say they have a suspect in a string of package thefts from front porches that happened last month. Investigators say they are getting a warrant for this woman suspected of stealing packages from porches at least 3 different homes on October 28th. Police say they recognized the suspect from security video taken by one of those victims.
Porch camera video was pretty good video. Actually, it showed pretty good likeness, pretty good. The photo of the face was pretty good, so we were able to identify her from our previous photos of her.
Police expect to make an arrest soon, but they have not released the suspect's name at this point. And if you smelled natural gas yesterday in Bozeman, you weren't imagining things. According to Northwestern Energy, routine maintenance at a pipeline just west of town caused the smell to drift across the area. Officials with Northwestern Energy say they received around 30 reports, including one from a school with concerns about the smell. Northwestern says there was nothing to worry about. They say the smell was a result of the company's calls for a blowdown when engineers cut into a natural gas transmission pipeline and a small amount of gas went into the atmosphere. That's when they say the smell started to fade and started to settle into areas below.
Natural gas, like I say, is very light and it's like helium. It dissipates into the atmosphere very readily and goes up. And so it wasn't a hazard, but the odorant was settling down. That's what people were smelling. We do apologize for the confusion and the inconvenience that caused yesterday.
Northwestern Energy says there was never a threat to the community in any way. But good for people to be diligent. I like that. And the annual Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade is an American tradition, and it's a pretty big deal to take part of it. Well, we found a French horn player in Butte who was invited to make the trip to New York City to be a part of the parade. MTN's John Amy has his story.
15-year-old Butte High sophomore Derek Bain Parsons has always admired the marching band at the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade.
I told myself, I said, one day I'm going to be in it, and I didn't expect it to come quite this soon, but better early than never.
Derek was one of 200 young musicians selected for the Macys Great American Marching Band to perform in New York City on Thanksgiving Day.
I was thrilled to even have the chance to march in the parade. I've always, since I was just a little kid, I've been fascinated by the marching bands.
With support from his band teacher, Gene Persich, Derek will be playing the mellophone on the 3-mile parade in front of millions of viewers. Derek says he can handle it.
I'll probably be so high on adrenaline at that point in time, it's not going to make much of a difference because I'll be so excited.
So Derek's here with his French horn. Derek, show me a riff or something on this that makes this instrument interesting. Now that's smooth.
I'm not nervous per se because I've been performing so long, but I would say I'm definitely on an adrenaline rush anytime I think of it.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Wow, that is fabulous. It's hard to make the French horn sound good, but apparently he can do it really easily. Derek will head out to New York a week before the parade to rehearse with the band to get ready for the big day on November 28th. Congratulations, Derek. Way to make Montana proud. Also for you this morning, the poster has been chosen for Bozeman's Christmas stroll. The winner of the annual competition is Montana native Lorraine Hartman. You see her poster here. She calls it Montana Santa. I love it. The Downtown Bozeman Association, which sponsors the stroll, calls her work a, quote, timeless design. The artist says it shows St. Nick delivering presents from a pickup driving down an unplowed mountain road. The stroll takes place this year on Saturday, December 7th, and we're going to have more information about that for you next Friday as we get Ellie Staley with us here in the house. 6:39 here. It is time for a quick break. Good morning. We're very glad to have you with us. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to head to Oregon, where yesterday a group of more than 20 high school students brought climate change lawsuit to the state's highest court. But first, we're going to check in with Tony DeCopel at the main desk in New York City to see your headlines coming up at 7 right here on CBS.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS this morning, concerns over the safety of LASIK eye surgery. Hear from one expert who supported the procedure and is now pushing to get it off the market. Plus, only on CBS this morning, go backstage with Celine Dion. She's on her first tour since her husband's death and tells Gail how he's always with her on stage, near, far, wherever you are. We'll see you at 7.